The New York State Athletic Commission has officially overturned the result of the GervontaDavis versus Lamont Roach fight, sending shockwaves through the entire boxing world. Fans, who had been calling the fight a robbery, finally got what they had been demanding. The CompuBox numbers don't lie. Roach outlanded Davis in both total punches and jabs.
Man, I thought I won. I thought I did enough to get the victory over a spectacular fighter. I told y'all from the beginning, man, that I got the skills to pay the... I've been telling...
Revealing just how much the original decision had favored Davis unfairly. One WBA president, Gilberto Mendoza, had already made it clear that a rematch was in the works, but now with the commission stepping in, Tank is no longer the winner. The undefeated record he had...
The Athletic Commission is reviewing the results of the fight, and it's based on that knockdown, which is extremely important, because if that is ruled...
Davis, who had been hinting at a rematch in May, is now being forced into one under completely different circumstances. What was supposed to be a simple title defense has turned into damage control. His fans, who had been insisting he was the face of boxing, are now scrambling for explanations. But Davis didn't wait for them to make excuses. He came up with one of his own, blaming his hairstylist for his struggles in the ring. "She put grease in my hair, so, when you're sweating and the grease runs down your face, it burned my eyes," Davis told the crowd at Barclays Center. But instead of receiving sympathy, the arena erupted with boos. "This is a real fact. Look at my hair. I just got it done." That excuse didn't sit well with the boxing world. Fans immediately took to social media, clowning Tank for blaming hair grease instead of admitting that Roach had outboxed him. Memes started pouring in, with fans posting pictures of hair products, tagging Tank, and joking that Roach is real. Strategy was a bottle of hair oil, but it wasn't just fans who had something to say. Tank's own hairstylist, known as Leave the Brand on Instagram, fired back right away. "I did his hair on Wednesday. It's Saturday. He did press, gym, and weigh-in," the stylist wrote on Instagram, calling out Tank for making excuses. "That's no excuse. How much grease did I use?" They even posted a picture from their salon showing there wasn't an excess of product. "Take a look around. You see an overload of grease everywhere?" "Newsflash," the stylist added. Fans rallied behind the stylist, saying that if Tank was blaming something as small as hair grease, then he had bigger problems. Some even compared it to other classic boxing excuses, like when fighters blamed their ring walk outfits for slowing them down. But this was different. This wasn't just about an excuse. It was about a fighter who was supposed to be dominant, getting exposed in a way no one expected. The overturned result has completely changed the way people view Tank. Before this, he was the guy who always got the benefit of the doubt, the guy who was supposed to be a knockout artist, the one who could never lose because the business of boxing wouldn't allow it. Now, all of that is gone. The commission stepping in like this...
I thought I should have won without that being counted a knockdown. Look, I ain't the ref. I ain't really, Like, if he had to wipe sweat out his eye, he had to wipe sweat out his eye. But the rules do state, if you voluntarily take a knee, then that's an automatic 8 count. But it is what it is. I wasn't relying on that. I was relying on what I was doing in there.
Following the commission's request for the replay video, there was a technical issue that prevented the commission from receiving it within the allotted time for review. As a result, the referee's in-ring decision was relied upon, and the fight continued, the commission stated. But they didn't stop there. The commission is dedicated to preserving the integrity of combative sports and is committed to working with all promotions and production teams on behalf of the athletes, officials, and fans to ensure that technical issues like this don't occur again. They emphasize that future incidents preventing the delivery of ringside instant replay feeds to the commission's officials will be avoided. This statement made it clear that while the commission was admitting fault...
definitely an off night for Tank, but Lamont Roach is the guy, man. He showed up, and Tank gave him a tremendous amount of respect in the fight, and we saw why. He's a great counterpuncher. He's very high boxing IQ. He always says, I hit harder than people think. I hit harder than my record says. He stunned Tank several times. Tank looked.
And the way people saw it, Tank had finally been caught. The system that had protected him for so long had failed him this time, and now his biggest critics were celebrating. Then came Terrence Crawford. Crawford has never been a fan of Tank's flashy lifestyle, often criticizing him for being more about social media clout than building a real boxing legacy. For years, he had said that Tank was being protected, avoiding the toughest competition while still being marketed as a superstar. Now, with the fight officially overturned, Crawford couldn't hold back. "This dude has been talking like he runs the sport," Crawford tweeted. Well, the sport just told him otherwise. Crawford didn't stop there. He went straight at Tank's fan base, the same people who had spent years calling Davis the face of boxing. All y'all talking about Tank, the face of boxing? Well, the face just took an L. He wasn't lying. Tank's record, once seen as untouchable, now has a stain on it that he can't erase. To Crawford, this was karma. He had called out Tank.
Maybe the opponent, Lamont Roach, actually got stronger moving up 5 pounds to 135 pounds. He was able to take Tank shots without ever really being in any serious trouble. That, I think, was unusual and disconcerting.
6, he was the fighter who had never had to take a real risk, the one who could wait for the perfect opponent while still being praised like a king. But now, with the fight overturned, all of that was collapsing. How are you going to avoid the likes of Shakur just to get a loss against Roach? Crawford asked. Ryan Garcia also wasted no time rubbing it in. The moment the New York State Athletic Commission overturned GervontaDavis's draw against Lamont Roach, Ryan was already on social media letting the world know he called it. "Told y'all he lost that fight," Ryan posted. "The commission did the right thing. Tank got exposed." Ryan and Tank have hated each other for years, or at least publicly, to keep their careers going. Ever since their fight, where Tank knocked him out, Ryan has been on a mission to prove that Davis wasn't as good as people thought. Every time Tank won, Ryan had something to say, calling him protected and overrated. But now, with the commission stepping in and overturning the result, Ryan had all the ammo he needed. He wasn't done.
It's a lot of criticism for not knocking Lamont out and Lamont not being a big name, so they overblow it.
I think so, yeah, and I feel like people just don't like Tank to a point where any little thing, just because he ain't knock him out, he probably feel as though that he lost, and he didn't, or it was a draw. I feel like Tank was doing a lot of smart things in the beginning, moving a little bit too much.
Tank fans have been lying to themselves for years, Ryan continued. "Dude ain't that good. He just got saved every time he fought. Now the commission couldn't even protect him anymore. Look at my fight. There had to be something off to his advantage." Then came the knockout blow. Ryan posted a video of Tank taking a knee against Roach, the moment that had caused all the controversy in the first place. But it wasn't just the clip that got people talking. It was Ryan's caption. "No heart, quitter energy." Tank's biggest strength had always been his image. He was the bully, the street fighter, the guy who knocked people out. But now, he was the guy who took a knee.
Mayweather, one of the greats, one of the legends, one of the GOATs, said to himself, "Sugar Tank Davis." So we know that Tank Davis loves to be painting his nails, wearing stilettos, wearing them purses. How many pay-per-view buys does this Roach Jr. coming up for 130? How many buys do you think this does, my brother?
350.
Of course, Stevenson had been watching. Everything unfolded quietly, but once the ruling became official, he spoke up too. Shakur and Tank had been circling each other for months, throwing jabs on social media and teasing a fight that never seemed to materialize. Tank called Shakur boring, while Shakur said Tank was all hype. But now, with Tank officially losing, Shakur had all the proof he needed. He didn't even need to say much. Shakur posted, "I knew what it was."
I want some money tonight. That's all I'm happy for. I want money tonight.
Shakur, tell us something, bro. Like, what did you think about the decision?
I ain't gonna shit on him.
Okay.
We still gotta see each other. He say he wanna fight me, so we gonna fight.
But what do you think about the decision?
I thought Lamont won.
You thought Lamont won? Got you. I'll talk to you later.
Then Shakur went live on Instagram, shaking his head at the news like he had already seen it coming. "You see how the boxing gods work?" he said. "That man was out here acting like he was the boogeyman, calling me boring. But now look, he got whooped, he got dropped, and he got his W taken away." And then came the challenge, the one he had been waiting to make for months. Or maybe now he can just fight me and stop running. That was the real conversation now. With Tank's undefeated record gone and his aura of invincibility shattered, what was next? He no longer had the same leverage. He couldn't just act like he was untouchable anymore.
I'm not looking at Lamont the way that everybody else look at Lamont. Like, I know Lamont is a really good fighter. I'm not. This ain't no Frank Martin. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
It's a real good fight.
The plan is to stay calm, stay sharp, and show Davis that he's not intimidated. If Roach can do that, he's got a real shot at breaking down the walls Davis usually builds around his opponents. GervontaDavis has been stirring up confusion lately with his unpredictable moves. For the past few months, the Baltimore native has made some eyebrow-raising comments about his career, throwing his fans into a state of uncertainty. It all started on Christmas Eve when Davis dropped a bombshell that had everyone questioning what was going on. Out of nowhere, he claimed that his highly anticipated showdown with Roach, which fans had been eagerly waiting for, was canceled.
Talk to me about the mental preparation going to this fight with Lamont. Fans, they kind of sleeping on Lamont, but you know Lamont's fighting style. Y'all fought in the past.
People don't know him, but Lamont is a good fighter. Like, he ain't no slouch. Like, I fought him in the amateurs. Like,
fans jumped to conclusions, speculating that it might be another one of Tank's infamous meltdowns. The unpredictability of Davis's statements wasn't new, but this felt different. The timing was odd, and with no backup from his team or anyone else, it seemed like another episode of Davis throwing a wrench into his own plans. But just when it seemed like the fight might slip through everyone's fingers, Lamont Roach and his father, Lamont Sr., stepped in to clear the air. They issued statements reassuring fans that the fight was still on track for its scheduled date. The whole situation could have easily escalated into chaos, but both fighters managed to keep the focus on their upcoming showdown. Despite the brief confusion, the momentum didn't falter, and now both Roach and Davis
rematch clause, people, so get ready for 2 fights. But, yes, and after I beat him the second time, I probably would ask the WBA to let me go up to 140 and fight Riot.
For his part, was just as baffled as the rest of us when the cancellation rumors started swirling. While fans on social media were panicking, Roach wasn't getting caught up in the drama. During a recent Q&A session on his YouTube channel, he addressed the situation with his usual calm demeanor. A fan asked him directly, "Why did people say the fight was canceled, or that you pulled out?" Roach smiled, acknowledging the question, and went on to explain his side of things. "GervontaDavis is like a wild card," Roach said. "You never know what he's going to do next." The 29-year-old Washington native admitted that Davis's unpredictability is something.
Man, I mean, it's going to go. Tank going to be losing the first 3 rounds. Then he's going to download the data. Then he going to knock this dude out in round 7 or 8. Then he going to do the backflip. Then Jim Gray's going to get in the ring, or Caleb Plant's wife, and say, "Who do you want next?" And Tank's going to say, "I want all those guys." And they're going to go to the press conference.
Seen it all in his own journey, and he's not going to let any of Davis's eccentricities throw him off course. Roach knows Davis well enough by now to understand that Tank is his own person, and his decisions don't always make sense from the outside. Whether it's an emotional tweet or a cryptic post, Davis often keeps people guessing about his next move. Roach, however, isn't bothered by the mental gymnastics Tank puts the boxing world through. For Roach, it's business as usual. He has his own fight to prepare for, and nothing is going to distract him from that goal. The mental aspect of boxing is just as important as the physical preparation, and Roach is staying mentally sharp for his biggest challenge yet. "I don't let that stuff affect me," Roach said. It's clear that he's not about to get wrapped up in the drama or the rumors. Instead, He's channeling all that energy into getting himself ready for what could be the fight of his life. Roach knows that beating Davis would change everything for him.
No one's been able to solve Tank Davis. What do you need to do together with you and your team and obviously your son to score that victory?
We got a game plan. We're going to execute it, and we're going to get the results.
Move that head, bob and weave, bob and weave.
The countdown to their showdown in Brooklyn continues. It's safe to say that Roach is as locked in as ever. His camp is already underway, and he's preparing for Davis in the most professional way possible. GervontaDavis looks sharp and ready to go, with his weight already close to fighting form. While other fighters, like Kaysen Davis, often carry extra weight during training camp, Tank is staying lean and prepared. Kaysen frequently looks more like a welterweight before cutting down to 135 lbs, but Tank doesn't rely on drastic